So I'm going to jump in and begin. My name is Wendy. I am the curator of magical experiences for the Litbin Group. And today I'm going to share, I guess I'll declare it, my brilliance around client astonishment, and why it's important and why I know and why now is a great time to kind of have a look at that. So I'll start with what I find a little bit of the boring part. Like, I'm going to define astonishing. What is astonishing? It's something that's extremely surprising or impressive, amazing, incredible, blow your mind. And I would say that's true. That is the definition of astonishing. So what it isn't is, it's not the same as customer service. I want to make that distinction really clearly. It's not the same as being an amazing coach or being an amazing listener, or it's all those, like, what you do in the world that you are brilliant at is the thing. And then this is like a layer beyond that. So it's the jumping point is actually right from your all brilliance. And I want to set up, like, I'm going to bring you into my world. So in my world, like, magic is real. I'm shaking right now because I don't declare this very publicly. I am a miracle maker. I literally make miracles. And by being a miracle maker, actually miracles come and find me too. Like, I don't even have to do much. And it's a really fun place to live. So I'm inviting you into my world and I'm going to give you a little peek about, like, what happens in here. That results in miracles for my clients, miracles for all of you guys. And it translates to everything. We're going to talk specifically about client astonishment. So welcome to my world of magic making and miracles. So what I want to start with, so this is the other thing, like, my world is not linear. So stay with me. It's going to be a fun ride. So I want to start with a quick share, an impact share. And I want someone, and I've got two screens. So anyone on my current source team, who was the recipient of, I guess I'll set it up. My anchor team, so the leads of the source team, created a little collage matched with a song for everybody on our team. Sounds nice, sounds lovely. And I wanted someone to volunteer to share, not necessarily what it was, but like the impact of receiving that gift what had on you. Like, what was the impact? How did you feel when you received that gift? So raise your hand if you're on my source team and want to share right now. There's going to be another opportunity. I'm looking. Okay, here I go. Oops, wait. Give me a minute, because now I'm dancing with the unicorn right now. I'm leaning into, like, who do I want to call on? And I'm shaking. So, okay. So I would like to call on Kobani.
Hi.
Hi.
So the impact that gift had on me was, I was so shocked at how much they knew me, they saw me. Like, we had gotten to know each other for a few months, and I was moved by how much they had got it right. They had seen into my soul based on everything I've said, and they got me. And I was moved to tears. I couldn't actually speak. I don't think I actually said what the impact was at the time, because I was trying not to cry. It was in our morning source team meeting, so we had the rest of the day, and I didn't want to give myself a migraine, so from crying. But I couldn't stop. Yeah, I just couldn't. The emotion was just, I was overwhelmed by how much they got it right. They saw me, and I've gone back to listen to that clip and watch that clip about 10 times since, and it grounds me, especially if I'm not in a good space. And I see my smiling, and I see Laurie too, and I'm so grateful, because it's had on me since. Yeah.
Thank you. Did I prep you for this share, Kobani, or is this straight from the heart?
Straight from the heart, which is why I
Yeah.
think it's a bit clunky, but yeah, straight from the heart.
Yeah. It's funny as I'm preparing, to talk, they're like, don't call on children and don't ask questions you don't know the answer to, like big presenter no-nos. But when you dance with the unicorn, you get to do whatever feels right. Thank you, Kobani. And so like, so just again, I'm going to make a note, like she felt seen. She couldn't figure out how we created that for her, and deeply grateful. Um, so that leads me into like, how does that get created, right? How does that get created? So for me, I begin with the end in mind. Like, what do I want the person, the recipient of this miracle that I'm creating, that I'm setting up, how do I want them to feel? And that's going to be a little bit different for everybody. And for what you are, what, again, there's empowered, there's inspired, there's moved to action, moved to tears, deeply seen. There's a rainbow of, I would call them wholesome desires, WH, wholesome, that we have for our people. And so it starts with that wholesome desire, like, oh, what do I want? I want to go, where do I want, if I'm going to crack them open and plug in a feeling, what do I want it to be? So that's where it starts. It starts with the end. And cautionary tale, like, be totally unattached to what the thing is. Like, this happened to be a beautiful collage and a very on point song, right, for each person. But that really wasn't the plan when we were talking about what we wanted our source team to feel. So it's just a wholesome desire. That's where it starts. And so I call it begin with the end in mind. How do you want them to feel at the end when this is finally delivered? Simple, better, and wholesome. Any questions about, like, when I talk about a wholesome desire, what that means? On the good scan, I got to go. Excellent. I think we get that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now I want to tell you as a story. So this is a story for me. It changed the way I perceive the world. And it took me, honestly, if I'm really honest, and it wasn't like in the moment, but when I look at who I was and how I was operating in the world 15 years ago, and after having this experience, and really it stayed with me in such a way that it absolutely bumped me from zone of excellence into zone of genius, for sure. And it's currently guiding me towards mastery, the pursuit of mastery. I'm going to take my whole life, but I'm in. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a golf story. So to set up golf, because I realize not everybody golfs, in golf, the lower your score is, the better. High score bad, low score good. A perfect score in golf is 72. So that's like the best. That's getting 8 plus is a 72. Most golfers will never break. 80% generally shoot around the 100 plus. A good percentage will break into the 90s sometimes. Very few people will get in the 80s, 70s, and then you can actually go below that, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So, and people spend, like, if they can shave 2 strokes off of their handicap, off of their score in a year, like with practice and lessons, 2 strokes is a big win. So about 15 years ago, I endeavored to take up golf, and I took lessons, and I got a great set of clubs, and San Diego has world-class, beautiful golf courses on the ocean. So I'm in heaven, like, I'm golfing, but I'm not a good golfer. I'm like solidly shooting. Now again, 72 is perfect game. I'm like 120 and having a ball, but I mean, like, I'm a hacker is kind of what they call that. Losing balls left and right. So, I'm having fun, and I'm enjoying this. And the unicorns were dancing with me even back then. And this teacher kind of comes into my world. It came into my day. I'm just golfing at Torrey Pines Golf Course. Beautiful day, beautiful ocean, bad golf. And he, anyways, kind of enrolls me into taking some lessons with him. And it felt magical. It felt like a world of possibility might be opening up for me. And so I said, yeah, yeah, teach me. And I said, but I don't want to go to a driving range and have golf lessons. I want to go to the golf course, and I want each lesson to be a full round of golf, and 4 people can play golf at one time. And I want to play 4 balls, like in each of these 5 rounds of golf. So it's 5 rounds of golf, 4 balls, 18 times. Sorry, how many holes are on a golf course? So it's a lot of balls. It's a lot of golf. And I was really committed. And so the first, he starts out, I have to grab my golf ball. It's on my altar. Okay. So he starts out, look at the ball. Look at the ball. Is the ball clean? Is there any grass on the ball? Is there a smudge on the ball? And I'm like, it's just a ball, like it's a ball. It's going to get hit really hard into like really dangerous territory. He's like, it matters. Like, clean that ball. So every single time I picked up my ball, he asked me, look at your ball, clean the ball. Is there grass on the ball? I'm like, okay. And then how you set up the ball. Is the tee straight? Is there any grass around the tee? Is there wind? Back up, see if it's straight. Like, can you move over? Do you have a bet? I mean, every single thing of every single moment for every single hole mattered, and he pointed it out. And it was so frustrating because I didn't really buy in fully that it mattered. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And I had paid him. Like, we all know when we actually pay, well, for me, if I pay somebody, I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to be all in. And then I'll decide later if I'm going to keep it, hold on to the lessons or not. But when I pay someone, I listen. So I was a good student. And I did the thing. And between lessons, I would be in my bedroom, and I had a king size bed and a bay window on the other side, and the basically entrance to the bedroom. And I'd get my pitching wedge and I'd chip the ball, try to chip it either onto the bed or just over the bed without going through the window. So I was doing everything he said. And on my 5th lesson, my last round, we kept straight up score. I shot an 89. I shaved like 30 strokes, somewhere in that, off of my game. I broke into the 80s, which is like, it was absolutely miraculous. And everything he said and every attention to detail and all of that, I was like, damn, that works. Like that, everything matters. Like the impact and the result was nothing short of miraculous. And I took that with me, and I've carried it with me, and it's turned into such a key part of my miracle making and my magic making. And so to sort of open the kimono into how these collages and these songs came to be and were so magical. Like my team, my anchor team, they know me, and we've been working together for years now, and they know everything matters. And so as we were curating this team, this source team, the anchor team, gets together a couple months ahead of time. We made a very conscious decision that everything out of their mouths was going to matter. Everything they said on every call, everything they said on every email, we were going to pay attention to. It doesn't mean we had to catch everything or be perfect, but we were going to focus and listen to what they said, listen to what they didn't say. And we'd make a note. We had this even column like quotables, mic drop moments, deeply meaningful statements. And so we paid attention on our calls. And then when it came time, Lori and Mike, if you're a wave, you guys are here. When it came time to actually create the thing, we had a collective well for each person. And this thing was created, it wasn't effortless. I mean, there was definitely effort and deep heart. And I don't know, I think Mike stayed up all night. But I don't think that was the miracle. That was the technology piece. But like, we were invested and we wanted to create magic. And it happened because everything mattered and we paid attention. I'm going to breathe here because actually, it was so exciting to see the result of that kind of love, that kind of a love labor. Yeah, I planned in advance to capture the magic before I began, 100%. And we're not attached to how it was going to come together. That's the piece. Like the final piece is like, leave room for the unicorn. Like if we had said, we're going to write down everything they say, and we're going to create a collage, and we're going to match it to music. Now we're sorting for something too specific, right? We're trying to put the magic into a container where it's like sort for the inspiration and then play with the unicorn and see what comes into your world, see what possibilities happen. So in that spirit, knowing what you want to achieve, and then it's a long game. Like start sorting for the possibilities in your client, clues that will inform the client astonishment. I'm trying to think how I can say that more concisely or better. If you know how you want them to feel and everything matters, then start sorting for the things that will feed that end feeling. And you'll be surprised. I mean, it's not, there's a ton of grace in it. Like we didn't have to capture, we might have missed, like, right? Like Kobani might have said something like so deeply meaningful and important to her, and we totally could have missed it. But we caught enough to like really see into her soul. So I had someone once say, oh, don't sweat the small stuff, doesn't work for you. And I'm like, oh, that's the opposite. It's totally the opposite of everything matters. I don't feel like I sweat the small stuff because I pay attention to enough. Let's see here. Did looking for those mic drop moments distract from the tasks on hand that the meeting was called to accomplish? No, not at all. Because we weren't actually, that's the thing. Like we weren't, well, actually, I'm going to ask, Mike, what is your, like, do you feel like sharing like what we, like in your experience of what I was asking of you guys, what was the?
Yeah. So what we were looking for was, I mean, it's not that we're looking necessarily to capture the details of the moment so much as we're looking to capture the spirit of the moment. So like our presence on the call really outweighed the, I don't want to call it the attention to detail, but getting the minutia of what was said. And also there are 6 of us placing our attention, that degree of attention, on every person who's speaking on the call. And the point of a lot of these, like a large portion of our calls is driven toward really getting to know each other deeply. So it's not that it was distracting from the task at hand, it was the task at hand.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, that's a great, yeah, that was the thing. And that's the other thing of, actually, it's an interesting distinction you bring up, Mike. So part of client astonishment for me and for my team is, like, I know what we're going to do. Like we're going to lead small groups and we're going to facilitate deep conversation and everybody's going to bring their gifts, but we don't like focus on that at all, at all in preparation for the event. We only connect and we only aim to deeply see each other and we only come together to be in the love bubble is what we call it. And through that kind of deeply seeing each other, then they're all going out and like blowing your guys' minds. Like how awesome are the small group leaders? right? They're like there's like client astonishment. We're just sending them out there to love on you guys. So I want to take another share from my team. Same question. Like now you guys have a little more context. And so my request of my team, my source team is like, you guys got that. And by the way, they didn't have this context before this call. Like they didn't know we were looking at, focusing on their words and what they said and what they didn't say in that way. So I want to my request is like kind of leave that behind and sink back into the feeling. Like, how did you feel? What was the impact when you received that gift? And raise your hand, and I'll dance with the unicorn again. Let's see. Baron, can you mute Daniel Allen? Woo! Kids are in the house.
Wendy, you're muted, but I totally read that you said Aaron.
Thank you. I did. I said Aaron.
Okay. I'm just assuming. So the question, Wendy, was how I felt receiving the song. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
I missed part of Kobani's response, so I might be repeating here, but it was absolutely the everything matters conversation. Like what had been pulled out was such little stuff that people had been paying attention to. Stuff that had been said months ago, in fact, that it was like, how did you even remember that? Then the immediate thing I felt after that was I wanted to see everybody else's songs. I wanted to listen to their songs. I wanted to know how Mike and Lori saw everyone. And in fact, I turned it into a game because Mike made us a little playlist, and I went on a walk that day and said, I'm not going to look up whose songs are whose. I'm just going to try to guess based on the lyrics. And it became this really fun thing about, oh my God, I actually know who this is for every single time. And so it was just like this collective seeing, and it was like a collective connecting with the brilliance of everyone in the room through the song.
Thank you. And if you guys, well, I guess I asked Mike on the fly, can we share, is there a way to share that link with all that playlist and those collages for people to see?
Yeah, let me
Let's see if we can work that out. I'll put that in with my brilliant session. We'll put a link in there.
Cool. I'll drop it in the comments too.
Oh, cool. No, yeah, at the end, we're going to lose everybody. Everybody's going to and go look at the songs and the collages. They're amazing. Parisa, would you be willing to share?
What my song was, or with the impression on me?
The impact on you. And I'm going to give a little tiny bit of a setup. Parisa is a really, and now I'm regret. Now I want to go back and set Aaron and Kobani up, and I'm going to pin that's a good thing to do. Parisa is a really powerful woman. She is in the business world, and moves through life in a way that is like a laser beam. Like she cuts to the heart. She cuts through the bullshit. She is a leader and a coach of the most challenging human beings. I will say, for like the people she coaches in my world would be the most challenging human beings, and they're challenging to their teams as well. So this is a powerful woman who has quite an armor and necessary to move in the world that she moves in, and yet sees people in a way that is always different and always deep and always heartfelt. So, yeah.
Thank you, Wendy. I love that. I received that. That was beautiful. I burst into tears. And as I was walking this morning, one of the things that occurred to me, and I knew that I was going to be joining the call today, it's not only that we were seen and not only that you captured these moments, but the yes and was, it was acceptance and also unconditional love for who we are as beings. so yeah, you saw me, but she could have also rejected me. So being seen, accepted, and the unconditional love, uh, it, I think that's what made me burst into tears. I felt appreciated. I felt like I was with my people. And sometimes it's hard for me to find my people. And so for me to say that I found my people and that I was seen, loved unconditionally and accepted was flipping brilliant. I mean, and that week I have a number of family issues as well. So it was like, I just felt that veil of love, and it was so powerful for me. So thank you. I'm so appreciative of the team. It was beautiful.
Thanks for sharing, Parisa. Yeah. So like yeah, I mean, it's magical. Like, it is nothing short of magical and miraculous. And even again, Mike and Lori were solidly dancing with the unicorns. They didn't know these people's favorite songs. They didn't know, like, there's so much they didn't know, but they had what they needed. They were coming from love. They knew what they wanted to accomplish, and then invited the unicorn to conspire with them. Lori, did you want to have anything to add to kind of the intention? Or
I just put it in the chat, actually, that we were dancing with your unicorn. It was really under your direction and inspiration that all of this happened. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to give a little bit of, I don't know what I'm going to give you right now. What is client astonishment not? So this is like words of caution. And again, this is my world. So in my world, like, it's not a branded opportunity. This is not the time to like brand it and make it your bit. Like, it's not your logo. This is really about the person on the other end. It's not manipulative, and it's not preventative. You're not doing it to prevent something bad or to get something, so that's the cautionary tale. Not branded opportunity, not manipulative, and not preventative. What does it accomplish? So, I mean, you can see from my team's shares. So it inspires loyalty. And notice I didn't say commands loyalty. Inspires loyalty. And loyalty is one of those, in the unicorn world, like, you will never receive more loyalty than you're willing to give. And that's all the way around, to yourself, to others. So it's an important value for me, loyalty. But it inspires loyalty, and it inspires trust. And it's the trust that, when Urfa spoke to that level of trust, that deeply authentic, collaborative trust, like, that's where magic happens. Like, if you can inspire that level of trust with another human being, I mean, a client, someone you're coaching and wanting to like catapult into their greatness, they will jump knowing that you trust them like that, and they trust you. Like, they will jump. They'll take bigger leaps. They'll go there. They'll expose themselves like on a deeper level that will then fuel whatever you guys are working together on. Yeah. And why now? Like, why is this so important for me to be sharing now? One, on a really selfish level, capital S, like, I'm just coming out of the closet. I'm just magic, miracle maker, unicorn. Like, cool shit happens all the time when I put my energy on it. It just does. Always has. And I just kind of didn't tell anybody. Now I'm telling all of you. So it's time. It's time to, like, I want all of you to be your own miracle makers. And even if you just open up to like that 4% more possibility, focus on 4% more of what your client is saying or not saying, or what's meaningful, or getting that just a little bit, like, your world will change. Anybody who wants to come and jump in full time, that's even better. So it's a long game. It's a long game as well. Like there's not a prescriptive timeline. There's not like when the unicorn will dance. I don't know. It's a little bit funny story that's reoccurred to me. And because I'm the person who, if I just want to see a gift for someone and give it to them, I don't want to say, it's your birthday, I'm going to go get you a gift. Right? Like that's never felt right to me. And in different times I do that awesome. And at different times I just, forget. But in particular, like Lori on my team who created these beautiful things, like I do gifts for not gifts, I want to astonish and love on my anchor team. And they've been with me for years. And so there's not really like, has to be this. I mean, there is a timeliness thing. Time is a little bit of a thing. There is too late, kind of. But like the unicorn has not danced with me on Lori's gift, and we're going on from October. Like it's going to be a year. But I'm like, damn, I'm committed. When the unicorn dances with me and produces that gift that is just going to blow Lori's mind, it might be like the grand slam of all grand slams. But I'm like very aware since October, I've been looking, and the unicorn has not shown up in the way that I guess that I've said yes to yet. So what was my point? My point was there's not a timeline, and to start behaving in this way and focusing in this way on client astonishment, just embrace it for your whole business. And by the way, this applies to any relationship, anything that's important to you, anything you want, quite frankly. This is how I get what I want. I employ this exact method to get whatever I want. And it takes time. Like some of my coolest things, actually it was Hayden. Hayden, what's the little card? Tell him about the little card that you got. And then I'll tell you how there's no timeline.
Well, I posted the quote on the app last night too, because I bought a stack of quote cards not too long ago, and that quote's actually in there. But the story I shared on Connection Corner one day before. But well, do you want me to just share what the quote said,
Sure.
and you'll share the story behind it, right? Because I know where you're going with this, where there's no timeline.
Yeah.
So I was on the source team last year at the intensive. And then, Wendy got these little cards for each member of the source team, and the cards are sealed, and there's a quote inside. So she has no idea what the quote is inside, and she has no idea what the message is that people need to hear. But yeah, this little card she gave me, I opened the quote, and it says, "There are many wonderful things that will never be done if you do not do them." And that was exactly what I needed to hear at that time, because I was, wrestling with, how brilliant do I want to be? and since then, I've decided I want to be really fucking brilliant, because if I'm not, there are just so many things in the world that won't get done if I don't do them. So it just is exactly what I need to hear at that exact time. And then the story behind it, Wendy, is what? Yeah.
Well, so the story behind there's no timeline. So this like thing, everything matters. So I actually walk through the world sorting for possibilities. Like I literally sort for possibilities all the time. And again, because I dance with the unicorn and they actually talk to me, like I'll just see something and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that. So the deck of cards, the little quote cards that Hayden is speaking of, I bought, and I'm not kidding, 12 years ago, 12 years before I gave it to him. I was in Laguna Beach, whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. It says, I believe in you. And I'm like, well, how cool is that? And I put them in my bag. And so as I'm gathering to go to the hotel for the intensive, I'm like in my, I'm just like, oh, that could be useful. That could be useful. And I'm sorting for possibilities now in my drawer of possibilities. And I literally just threw a bunch of different cool things, oracle cards, and just threw them in my bag. And it was one of the evenings I like to stay in the room after everybody leaves and just sort of reflect and honestly put my attention on the source team. And I was like, oh, these cards, I believe in you. Rich had been saying that all weekend long random, because again, I had this box of cards and I had opened it and used a couple of them in the past for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, these would be great. I'm like, ooh, I need 18. I need 18 or it's not going to work, because I want Rich to get one. And, you know, there's this. And so I open up the box and I count how many are in there. Now, this is a 10-year-old box of opened quote cards. There were 18 cards in there. I'm like, ding, unicorn, yippee. We're using those. And so there's an opportunity for me to write a message on the back to each person, which was heartfelt and lovely, put them under everybody's chair. And I mean, there was not a dry eye in that. It was like everybody got the exact message they wanted. And there's 18. I mean, it just was like one magical thing after another kind of exploded in the team, in the circle. And, you know, I didn't plan it, except for I planned it. So who wants to ask a question?
Wendy,
oh, go ahead, Hayden. Yes.
Wendy, I want to add, and what kind of gives me chills is the idea that you had that message for me 10 years ago before I even knew you.
Right.
So that's
right.
the magic of it. That's the unicorn element of it, is that that card traveled with you wherever, in your bag, in your closet, around San Diego.
3 moves. I mean, I moved 3 times.
And it made itself to where it needed to go a decade later to the exact person who needed to hear. Like that's the unicorn. Yeah.
Total. And that's the thing. It's like, that's the mentality of sorting. And how bad is I have fire trucks. The mentality of everything matters and sorting for possibility all the time. Again, it's the opposite of exhausting for me, because I know I'm just always like, it'll speak to me in the moment and I pick it up. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it today. So who, not planned, but planted. Yeah. Who wants to ask? Somebody asked me an actual question, like come off mute. If anybody has a question. And I got to sort for hands. And if nobody has a question, that's okay. If anyone has a share, something they want to put into the room. What are you going to do? Anybody going to take action from this?
Well, Mandy had a good question in the chat.
What was it, Mandy? She's on mute.
Wendy, I can tell you what her question was.
She's got it. She's got it, Garrison.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't hear her.
I can't hear you. One more try, and then Garrison will tell us the question. Sorry, lovey. Okay, Garrison, what's your question?
I would do it in a beautiful feminine English accent if I could.
Please do.
Wendy, could you please, oh wait, no, she's not English. She just lives in London. Anyway, her question was, can you give some examples from other things you've done sort of across the spectrum that may relate to this?
Yes. So one of my, and this was seriously like, when I say like I dance with the unicorns and then like cool shit happens, like when I don't actually have to do anything for really cool stuff that happened. And Garrison, were you in Santa Fe the first time? Yes. The
yes,
4PC? Okay. Yep. Okay. So we were 4PC went to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I had put in motion a series of things. I'm trying to think how I even encapsulate this. What was your spirit animal, Garrison?
It was like one of those tree hugging.
Oh, that's right.
Little monkey type guys with the big yellow eyes. I forget the name of it. Didn't see that one coming.
I forgot yours. Where's
lemur.
Alexis? Where's Alexis?
Thank you, Mandy. It's a lemur.
A lemur.
Yeah.
So we threw a series of very, very cool things. Everybody came up with a spirit animal the night before, right? We did a journey and they got their spirit animal. And the brilliant people at Equus were exactly my unicorns, or the unicorns were dancing with them. And she had told me, she said, well, if we get everybody's spirit animal, I can go to the oh, it's escaping me, the artists, the native artists that create these little, they call them fetishes, but they're like little, I'm gonna get mine. Mine's a skunk, which
Wendy, it's Zuni. The
Zuni. Thank you. The Zuni people, like they're born. This is such a magical story. Like when they're 7, they get their craft, right? They're told what they're going to do, and some of them are born to walk the earth, pick up rocks, and create spirit animals out of these rocks. Okay, my skunk spirit animal. That's a whole nother brilliant session. Mine's a skunk. But we did this journey, and everybody told us what the spirit animal was. Saturday night, Lori and Jenny were a part of this again. So Saturday night, we get a list of everybody's spirit animal, and some people were like, I don't have mine, I want to dream. And we're like, we really need the animal tonight. But we didn't. We got some of them Sunday morning. And Kelly from the Equus Horse Ranch, she's like, oh, we'll go and we'll pick out everybody's spirit animal. And so I'm like, okay, so literally Sunday morning, we give her a list of everybody's spirit animals. She comes back with these gold boxes wrapped up. I didn't see a single spirit animal. I realize a lot of you think I picked those out before. I didn't. The unicorn picked them out. And it was a little box wrapped up, and everybody's spirit animal was in there. And people opened up their boxes, and like it was one of the most magical moments ever. Like one person was a white owl, Alexis, in 4PC. It was a white owl, but in her dream, the owl was like full wings spread, like on her head, but like it wasn't an owl. It was like an owl, right? And she opens up her spirit animal, and it's this white, polished owl. I mean, it barely fit in the box. The wings were so spread out. Like, no, she didn't say that on her description. She didn't say it's an owl with its wings spread. She said it's a white owl. And this owl comes out, and she just is like, how did you do that? How did you create something so magical? And it was total trust. Like, I just trusted that everybody, the unicorn was going to put the animal that they needed in the box. And to the extent that one person in 4PC, we had talked all weekend long about how it was like this relentless illusion. Like you couldn't quite ever, like not define. Like we talked about it all weekend long. And his spirit animal was a lion. And he opened his box, and it was like an uncarved rock. It kind of barely looked like a lion. But it was like the 7-year-old, this is his first one. But it was so, like, you can't plan that. Like, it could have been a perfect lion, but it was a vague impression of a lion. Like, it was just so on point. And again, totally unplanned. So that's one of my favorites.
Wendy, I have a question.
Okay.
What about
An impressionist lion, yes.
what about some concrete ideas or action items for those of us that want to astonish our one-on-one clients? How might that work?
Well, again, it would definitely, like, what is your wholesome desired feeling? Not your desire for your client to like go and find their voice, right? Or to come out of the closet and be the magical person they are, or whatever they're creating. But what is the wholesome desire you have for them? How do you want them to feel? That is gonna, like, if they just feel this way, it's gonna fuel everything that you want for them or everything you're working on together. So it's like, yeah.
So let's say I have a client, I want to make him feel empowered. So what might be like a specific example of a client astonishment for this client?
Funny you should ask. So we did this. We had this exact situation with one of Rich's apprentices, proteges, and she had, again, the coaching conversations go everywhere, right? And she was like, in one of their conversations, she's like, I just want to find the door to Narnia. I want to find the door to Narnia more often, and I want to be the queen of Narnia. And, there's then the coaching happens and the magic happens and all this. And after that, and as they were completing their agreement, the team kind of got together and decided we were going to dance with the unicorns and create something for her. And we had this beautiful custom bracelet made, and it said, if I can do this in 1 second, I'm going to do it, because I did pull it up. I found it. which is its own little bit of astonishment. Let's see. Nope. one more second. Nope, not this time. So we had this beautiful bracelet made for her, and it said, "I am the Queen of Narnia, get over it." Right? And so it's on her wrist. It's beautiful. It was, it had little crystal charms, and we just put it in the most beautiful box we could find and sent it to her. So it's like she left there like with a daily reminder. It didn't have the F-bomb in it, but that I'm the Queen of Narnia, get over it. So we've never created anything like that for anybody else since. But is that helpful? Like you find the one thing.
It is helpful. It is really helpful. And it adds another dimension of what we're listening for in sessions, right? To really, yeah. Because like I have a client who one of the metaphors is finding Dory, right? Just keep swimming. And that's just a reminder for herself to just keep swimming. So I'm like, oh, what if she gets a little plush of Dory? I don't know, something like that. Would that be an example of client astonishment?
Total, yeah, because there's again, it's a wholesome desire for her. Again, you're seeing something deep into her heart and her soul. Probably, I don't know how much she talks about it, but probably nobody sees that, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think she talks about finding Dory up like her board meetings.
Right. Well, and maybe something she could put in her pocket, like a little pocket Dory, or whatever. Or just a reminder, a touchstone. Touchstones are fantastic. Oh, they're touchstone. So,
Wendy, I have a question.
Yes.
Intuition works for people in different ways, and I'm curious about the way the unicorn communicates with you.
Oh, now you're really going to make me come out of the closet. So, it's funny. I was totally thinking about this as I was kind of trying to get myself centered for this call. So I hear things, but it's not like I hear things, but I don't hear them, but they're words. It's more than a feeling. It actually is a feeling that has words to it. So it will be like, buy me, pick me up. I get that a lot. Pick me up, pick me up. And then there's, it's animals. Like if I always know I need to pay attention, like if birds come and fly around me, or dragonflies, or humming, butterflies, flying things are always a signal. I know I'm into with my intuition when any animal will stop and make eye contact with me. Like animals don't do that, and babies. Wow. Babies don't just make eye contact with just anybody. Pay attention. Like if you can get a baby to make eye contact with you and like kind of engage with you, like the unicorns are in the room. Like I'm grounded, I'm tuned in. I'm like, whatever needs to not be there has left the building. A lot goes on in here.
Yeah.
Like a lot gets in the way of the unicorn. Yeah. So like animals and babies, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, hi, Wendy. It's Claire here.
Hi, Claire.
I would like to share some vulnerability on my part to back you up on everything that you're saying.
Please do.
There's something amazingly special here when we start to connect with the universe and the messages that we're getting from animals. Like when I was in Marina del Rey back in October, an eagle came out of one of the canals, and my spirit animal, one in Santa Fe, called to me as an eagle. And then the eagle, the fetish that I collected was actually the same as a golden orb that I've been given by my inner leader in one of the first coaching sessions I ever had. The same stone, I kid you not, exactly the same.
Wow.
Complete coincidence. And then a ladybird landed on my arm, which represents fun, and right next to the beach. Why would a ladybird be there? So, and then the other thing, I'm connected with the magic and my fairy energy, which sounds really random, and I can't believe I'm even sharing this with everybody here. But that's part of me and my ethereal energy that I'm just starting to connect. So now I'm starting to ask my fairy for advice, like you ask your unicorn for advice.
Yeah.
Like start listening. Should I be working on this, or should I be? What would my fairy like me to do today? So I'm sharing there with the world that it is there.
I love it. And
Oh.
everybody, like, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be, every single one of you, like, has your version of that. It could be your father, right? Who passed on, who now is the inspiration and the wisdom and the message. And I got goosebumps all over just from like saying that. It doesn't have to be fairies and magical creatures. Those are my angels of choice. But everybody has it. And the other thing that stood out to your story, Claire, that first coach that you ever worked with that gave you that golden orb, like, that was a client Astonishment that is still impacting you today.
Mm.
And they probably have no idea. I mean,
it was in my visualization. I was given in the visualization by my inner leader. So, but it's so
got it.
Not actually physical. And then I bought something that represented it.
Cool.
That then happened to 3 years later.
Okay.
Be the same.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
But that was the universe and my subconscious pulling everything together in its beautiful way.
Yeah.
And so there's something about trusting it, because I think in Western society we're very dubious of all of this, and yet there's a huge power and energy in this space.
Well, there's no downside. It can only be magic. Like, there's no downside to playing with the unicorn or playing with the fairy or playing.
Apart from people start to think we are perhaps going slightly mad, but I think the more we live it and love ourselves, then it kind of grows, and it's an opportunity to share it with everybody else.
I love that. And is there I want some male energy. Who's got the male? Bob is waving. Like, what is your Bob flavor?
It's funny you say that, because I'm not somebody who walks in this very often, but I am being called to it for sure. And I'm starting to learn about all of this. And my heart is racing right now, because I've also mentioned to some people, it's funny you use the word coming out, because as I'm getting closer and closer to being connected to spirits and becoming more of a spiritual leader, it's almost like a second coming out. I'm just as excited and nervous about it as I was about coming out as gay the first time. It's very exciting. Mm-hmm. And I understand everything you're saying, and I agree with everything you're saying. The concept that I'm learning just over the past couple of days, and even, just the past couple of days, is that our brilliance and our genius and our ability to connect with the intuition and the thoughts that are coming to us, everybody has that. Mm-hmm. Nothing special about each and every one of us that does. Mm-hmm. That none of us are a genius or none of us are brilliant. The brilliance comes to us and through us. And if you're accepting it, everybody hears it at one point in your life, and you either pick it up or you don't. If you do, the brilliance comes out because of what's coming through you. And people tend to look at people as being genius or brilliant. But actually, it's brilliance that's coming through you. Yeah. And there was a time before we got into thinking about people as individuals, there was a thought that genius was coming through you as a spirit. And that it really resonates with me more, is that my genius, my brilliance, I don't own it. It actually comes through me. Yeah. Right.
I appreciate that. And my little tagline is like spirit, the unicorn, genius, the muse, it meets you at the point of action. You got to pick it up, like be open and pick it up, and then be the conduit to have it move through you.
You just said the magic word for me, muse. It was called a muse a couple of days ago, and it brought me to tears, because it's my secret. And somebody brought it out in a group like this, and now I tell I am a muse. Because, and muse comes from, it's the inspiration that comes through you. I am not, and I am somebody else's muse. Yeah. And I'm, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. So I am cognizant of time. I had no intention of going the whole 60 minutes. This has been so fun. Happy to connect with anybody offline or in the app, whatever. And yeah, I thank you so much for letting me kind of, again, that coming out. I think there's such a bigger conversation and so many layers of coming out. And it's kind of exciting.
Can I ask a quick question before we wrap?
Sure.
Matt challenged me privately, so I will ask it. I got my hand up and it wasn't seen. Just a quick one around, my wife works for my coaching business. Is there any exercises that you and Rich do when you sit down together to work out what is the kind of best client astonishment for a particular client? Any exercises?
I would say it's much more of an intention than an actual exercise. Like it is, so we used to, maybe a couple of years ago, we would talk about client astonishment a lot, outside and inside. And we actually stopped talking about it outside. And we made a really clear distinction that it was a core value, not a thing we do. It's a thing we be. And so that was a big distinction that happened over the last, kind of evolved over the last couple of years. And like this necklace that I'm wearing is a unicorn, and it's a gift from Rich. So he just honestly, like it's a core value, and he gives me a lot of freedom to dance with the unicorn. And then we riff we just riff. I mean, you know, yeah. And everybody, I mean, it's a core value. So it's actually an ongoing conversation all the time.
Great.
Is that helpful? I wish I could just give you like a worksheet. Actually, no, I don't. Ditch the worksheet.
Yeah. No, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's about transferring what that client means and is for him to you, if I've got that right.
Yeah, and he brings, I mean, that's the brilliant coaching skill set of hearing what's not being said, listening for what's, what is important. I mean, all those things that we do as coaches and those skills that we hone to serve our clients deeply informs, right? Then you go, what do I want them to feel? I mean, for me, end of the day, I want people to feel deeply seen and loved. And I mean, it's that simple. So anything we do, we'll use everything we know and love about them and to inform what is the thing that's going to have them feel deeply seen and loved. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Thank you. Put everybody off mute and show me some love.
Thank you, Wendy.
Knocked
it out of the house, girl.
That
was awesome.
Hey, love you.
Well done.
Bye.
Unicorn.
Thank you. This was awesome. This is exactly what I needed.
Thank you.
Hi, Wendy.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy.